Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this in the world. I hope you guys are doing okay. And yes, you read that right. Now, normally I try to keep videos as respectful as possible, but I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I don't like this woman. I can't stand the sight of her. And the thought of her coming back into the game industry, I ain't gonna lie, it has irritated me somewhat. So I can't promise this video is going to be as PG as they usually are, because I don't like this woman. Now, as far as I'm concerned, she is patient zero. Anita Sarkeesian has returned to the internet and is looking for work in the world of video games. Who would have guessed? If you ever look around and you wonder how a lot of our favorite franchises turned into complete garbage, or why there's such a tug of war between gamers and games journalists, or why developers seem completely out of touch with what we want to the point that it feels like somebody is whispering in their ear, then look no further than Anita Sarkeesian. Ground Zero, the mother of all shambolic behavior and the one that set in motion a series of events in the gaming world, the likes of which we are still feeling today. The word grifter gets thrown around a lot in 2024 as a means to invalidate the other side, whichever side that might be. But there isn't a single figure in this space that fits the definition of a grifter more than Anita.
I've been playing video games since I was about 5 years old. This is a photo of me at age 10 playing Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. So I've been playing games for quite a while. And in addition to being a lot of fun to play, games have lots of positive benefits as well. So again, I've been playing games for a while.
Yes, Anita, because sitting in front of a TV with a controller means you're a gamer. Nice attempt at trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. I could literally give the controller to my friend and tell her to try a game out and take a snapshot of her moments before she launches the controller at my head and tells me how much gaming sucks. And then she can take that snapshot and put it on the internet, put it on social media, and start pretending like she's a real gamer. It is really that simple. I don't know who you thought you were trying to fool with that nonsense.
I'm going to show you a remix that I just finished this weekend and no one else has seen. One person has seen it. It's a soundtrack of one song, except I'm doing video games. So it's not exactly a fandom. I'm not a fan of video games. I actually had to learn a lot about video games in the process of making this. To me, the song is positive just because I've only contextualized it in a way to critique male domination in our media. And also video games, like I would love to play video games, but I don't want to go around shooting people and ripping off their heads, and it's just gross. So hence this is my response to that.
So you're not a fan of video games and yet you want to enter the space for what reason exactly? Why not just focus on a medium that means something to you and try to open up a meaningful conversation there? No. Instead, you come over to a place that you have no business being in and then throw around buzz phrases like male domination to get the gears of your audiences turning. Male domination. Well, we gotta change that. That's what they're thinking, without knowing and without you knowing what the hell you are going on about.
Video games are so interesting and engaging and interactive. I'm a gamer and I enjoy games. I love games. I'm a fan of games.
I'm not a fan of video games. I would love to play video games, but I don't want to go around shooting people and ripping off their heads, and it's just gross.
See, if you were a gamer, you'd know there are plenty of games where you don't need to fire a single bullet or rip someone's head off. It's because you're not a gamer that the fact that there's games that involve no killing went completely over your head. Grifter, as I said, that is a grifter, ladies and gentlemen. Admitted in 480p that she is not a gamer, but when it became convenient for her, suddenly she was a gamer and it means so much to her. What a load of bullshit.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
And this is the destructive rhetoric of someone that wants to play on the emotions of people that feel disenfranchised to get them to rally together and start some shit where shit did not need to be started. If video game companies want to hire this woman, I say go for it, because at least I'll know where to spend my money and where not to spend my money. Seriously, if you want to poison your wells further, then look no further. Hire Anita and let's see how well it goes for you guys. She absolutely embodies the word grifter like no other. She slithered her way into the video game industry many moons ago. So if you're ever wondering how we got here, there's your answer. Now, you may disregard Anita as irrelevant or a washed up has-been, and I'd say to you, don't be a silly goose. This woman should not be ignored under any circumstances. Ignoring people like this is kind of what got us in this mess to begin with. I know what you're thinking, but Mike, This woman's mad. She's married herself, and you're right, she did marry herself. But there is a method to her madness. The Joker's mad, and you wouldn't take your eyes off him, would you? Now, I'm not saying that Anita Sarkeesian should be thrown in Arkham Asylum for marrying herself, but I am saying that she should be rejected by the video game industry if the industry knows what's good for it. Then again, you could hire her and just save us all a ton of time and money when it comes to investing in your games. I'm at the point now where I actually welcome people like Anita Sarkeesian or groups like Sweet Baby Inc. because it gives me the opportunity to spend my money wisely. See, I've tried to change my perspective on these sort of things for a long time, and even in this video I was saying, no, don't come in, but you know what? Come in so I can save my money, so I don't have to waste my time. The minute that I know these people are working on the games, I know that I don't need to pay any attention. Time is the most precious thing on this planet, and I'd say money is pretty precious to all of us, so you know what? It could be a good thing. We don't always know if someone incompetent is going to be working on a game, but at least with names like these that we know immediately and we can see, we can be like, yeah, do you know what? I'm good. You know how some governments have invented problems around the world and then played the hero to swoop in and fix the problem? That's Anita Sarkeesian. She will see something that's perfectly fine, perfectly normal, perfectly in line with what the community wants, and she will find a way to turn that perfect situation ugly. She will then deceive, or as the kids today say, gaslight the developers into believing they need her more than she needs them, and boom, there goes your game's reputation and any monetary value that it had. Now, Anita has actually created a new website where she breaks down exactly what she's offering developers and how she can improve their games, because you know, she is a gamer after all, and she knows exactly what gamers want. So let's take a look at her new website and what she is offering. So we've got the first screen here, transforming culture now. Now, that is not a lie. She did transform the culture for the worst, but she did transform it. Hey there, I'm the creator of the Peabody Award-winning Tropes vs. Women in Video Games, a critically acclaimed video series exploring the history of women's representation in gaming that has garnered nearly 14 million views on YouTube alone. My work as a media critic, public speaker, and producer who thrives at the intersection of digital culture, accessibility, and social justice helped create a new lexicon and sparked a paradigm-shifting conversation about improving the representation of marginalized people in video games. This work has propelled me into the international spotlight in the fight for an end to online harassment and all forms of toxic online behavior. I care deeply about justice, and that drives me in all sorts of directions, whether it's hosting a podcast about feminism and popular culture, creating a video series about fascinating historical women who must not be forgotten, or creating an emotional support hotline for the gaming culture. But at the core of everything I do is the desire to dismantle the social, economic, and political barriers that pull all women at a disadvantage. Okay, let's go through this one step at a time, step by step. First of all, the Tropes vs. Women in Video Games series is one of the most laughable excuses in critical media that I've ever seen in my life. You've all seen the video, I'm sure you have. It was basically the laughing stock of those that have brain cells, and if you haven't seen it and want a full breakdown of the tomfoolery in the video, the Actman actually did a fantastic job in doing just that, so make sure you check that video out. Now, she wasn't lying about sparking a paradigm shift in the industry because, as I said, she is patient zero. Once again, if you are confused as to how we got here in the industry, this was the individual that kicked off the entire journey into this abyss. Her goal was to end all forms of toxic behavior, as she stated, but what the hell does that mean? It's like when people say we must end all hate speech. What does that mean, hate speech? You're not the speech police, Anita. You're just a fart in the wind that lingered for way too long, and before anyone says, Mike, she's irrelevant, it doesn't matter, look around you guys. This all started here. I was there. I was in the trenches. This woman hurled an unholy attack at our brothers and sisters. I survived. I'm here. Sorry, residuals of war. I said I'm still here. And I'm here to save you guys all from the third great Sarkeesian war. People like Anita Sarkeesian operate the same way parasites do. They burrow into your flesh and slowly take over. Before you know it, you're agreeing with everything IGN says, you're trying to get autographs from people that work over at Kotaku. You have completely lost your mind. If you do not shine a light on these things, it will be your game next, my brothers and sisters, I'm telling you. We must stand strong against the heretics. Not just for me, not just for you, but for the Emperor. Do not question my motives, okay? Now, I understand I've been playing a bit too much Warhammer, but you get what I'm trying to say. We can't just let this woman do whatever she wants. She says she cares deeply about justice, but that is code for feminist frequency as dead as Concord, and I need some money. Times 100's most influential people, pop culture's most valuable critic, from the Rolling Stone. Yeah, because whoever put you in the top 100 got a late night visit from your cellmate to Arkham Asylum. There's no way they did that in their sane mind. Either that or they are incredibly dense. I don't read Rolling Stone, but if I ever was going to, this has already put me off. Top 100. This must be a list of the top 100 idiots. That's the only way that this would make sense. Work with me. With over a decade of experience, I've consulted on numerous projects of all sizes. My approach is direct, honest, and non-judgmental. Direct, honest, and non-judgmental. Are you shitting me? Look, we don't have to agree, and that's fine, but non-judgmental, who are you fooling, Anita? You cast judgment on the entire gaming industry, called all us dudes sexist pigs, made out like our gaming lobbies were toxic minefields across the board, advocated to gut our games of the things we loved, and made out like any criticisms against you was just coming from right-wing bigots living in a cold, dark basement. You're the most judgmental leech in this space. Gamers have not forgotten your endless tweets of foolishness. Don't worry, we are going to get to those in a little bit. Inclusive video game design support services. Looking to make your video game project more inclusive to a wider audience? You're not alone. Today's audiences crave authentic experiences that break free from old stereotypes and stories that better represent a wider range of characters. As the media landscape evolves, inclusive content gains critical acclaim and broader audiences. I can help you. That ending part should say I can destroy you, and she will destroy you, video game devs. Make absolutely no mistake about that. She will eviscerate your companies into the ground. Today's audiences do not crave what she's claiming. Today's audiences crave what is on my screen, what has always been and ultimately will always continue to be if you people know what's good for you and your company. Somebody's going to make these games, whether you guys decide to listen or not. Someone's going to make them. What you are seeing on your screen is as authentic gets when it comes to gaming. This is what we want. Check the sales and then go look at what she thinks we want. Oh wait, my mistake. You can't. Most of that shit was dead on arrival. So these are some of her clients, and oh, would you look at that, Ubisoft. I wonder how they're doing these days. Let's go take a look at Ubisoft's website real quick. Let's see how they're doing. Develop at Ubisoft. Okay, this should be an interesting read. At Ubisoft, we want to build the most creative, diverse, and inclusive teams, and that's exactly what Develop at Ubisoft is all about. Empowering and supporting underrepresented genders. The program provides mentorship opportunities for women and non-binary individuals, students or fresh graduates with less than 2 years of experience, interested in video games to develop their skill set in game design and programming. We want to empower you to learn, grow, and become the very best developer that you can be. Now, employing people that have less than 2 years of experience is a great thing. But the way you're going about it is all wrong. But I shouldn't be surprised, this is Ubisoft after all. I mean, the ship is already sinking. Anita, why don't you go and be the iceberg that they're inevitably going to crash into? Isn't Ubisoft the developers that disrespected Japan with their portrayal and history revisions in Assassin's Creed? I wonder how they're spending their time and money hiring people. I wonder what the practices and what the criterias are to hire these people. Why don't we take a quick look at that? So to be eligible for this position with Ubisoft, you must identify as a woman or a non-binary individual, be 18 years old or older, currently attend or have graduated in or after spring 2023, blah 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 blah. The first part should really tell you everything you need to know. And it's interesting, shouldn't you just take on whoever wants to really learn and has a drive to make good games regardless of self-identification or race? Weird, but hey, it's your Titanic. You crash it whenever you feel best, Ubisoft. I'd say it's been fun, but I'd be pulling bullshit out of my ass, kind of like you guys. Shout outs to Toshino Kyoko for showing me this, and shout outs for sharing this golden nugget. Some galaxy brain on Reddit said if you have a fruit salad that's almost entirely strawberries, the way to fix it is to add some blueberries, watermelon, and tangerine. Only for someone with common sense to reply with, fruits don't have free will or sapience. As such, they don't care how much of each you decide to eat. This program is giving opportunities to people based on things they can't control. Now, to decide if this is a good thing or not is another thing, but to not call it discrimination when it follows the definition is not precisely wise. Honestly, as soon as I read the fruits analogy, I wanted to just tap out of creating this video. I was mentally checked out, ready to get in bed. But I thought, let me power on, we've come this far. There really are some special head cases out there. Anyways, from one head case to another, let's get back to Anita Sarkeesian. With over a decade of experience as a feminist media critic and the founder of a non-profit dedicated to inclusive representations in video games and pop culture, I've consulted on numerous projects of all sizes from AAA titles titles to smaller indie games. My team and I focus on representation issues such as gender, race, sexuality, ability, class, and more by examining art, scripts, and gameplay. We provide developers with a detailed report to equip them with as much information as possible to make informed choices about their games. At this point, it really is telling on the companies that hire people like this. I don't know how many flops it's gonna take. You know who the devs could hire if they want to get some consulting on video games? People that actually play video games. Ain't that a fucking thought? It's almost like if I wanted to hire somebody to fix my car, I'd hire a mechanic, not a fucking ballerina. Here we've got 3 studios, Devolver Digital, Double Fine, and Triband, and all of these people have worked with Anita Sarkeesian before. Now, I've never heard of or played most of the games from these developers except for one, Psychonauts, which was mentioned in the text there. And interestingly, in the text it says that she provided a new perspective and helped us avoid saying things with our game that we didn't intend to say and wouldn't want to say if we knew we were saying them. Basically, she helped us avoid stepping in multiple bear traps. Anita Sarkeesian is the bear trap, you dummies. I mean, what the hell was wrong with Psychonauts? That one absolutely baffled me, but sometimes I think these developers just put out statements due to pressure from vocal minorities or to appear like the do-gooders, the good guys, without reading the room and just end up looking like idiots. And as you can see here, it's just a lot of word salad and dribble. Look, employ her, guys. Go ahead. Just remember, gamers, this was the woman that sat before the United Nations to discuss cyberbullying against women. Whilst this sounds like a noble cause on its head, all they were trying to do is promote censorship. I'll pass it over to one of the goats of YouTube, one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. I don't know where he's gone, wherever he is. I hope he's happy and healthy. I'm going to pass this over to Alpha Omega Sin to break that part down for you briefly.
Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn met in front of the United Nations to go and discuss cyber violence against women, an ongoing epidemic that they're trying to go and make sure is ceased completely and utterly, something that is brought to the attention of the masses who might be ignorant to the idea that something like this actually happens on a day-to-day basis. But in all actuality, once you start doing a little bit of digging and actually think for yourself, you come to find out that all they're trying to do is promote censorship. And the UN is eating this up like nobody's business, because they're using these 2 poster children for ammunition to seize control over a wild frontier like the internet, something that they haven't been capable of doing before. Granted, plenty of countries out there have made feeble little attempts to try to maintain control over it, to no avail, unfortunately for them, but now they're using this, and they're going to exercise their ability to take this, put it onto the forefront and say, well, obviously we have to do it. Don't you know that frail and fragile women out there are going to be so terrorized that they'll never want to go on the internet ever again, and this is something that they shouldn't have to deal with. None of this harassment, any of these threats, except for women aren't frail. Women aren't afraid to go onto the internet, and this isn't something that is only happening to women.
Now you can go and watch Alpha Omega Sin's full video from 8 years ago where he breaks down exactly how ludicrous this all is. But Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn sitting in front of the United Nations was the beginning of the widespread censorship that we see today on social media platforms, and it's also censorship that has seeped its way into other parts of our media. Now to close off the video, let's go through a series of tweets that further demonstrate why this woman should be nowhere near video games or anyone that thinks like her. Remember Saints Row? Remember when it was great? Well, apparently Anita Sarkeesian was right according to the developers. I wonder how things are going for them. Oh, not so good. It sucks when people lose their jobs, don't get me wrong. I don't mean to sit here taking the piss, but if you're gonna play stupid games, then you're gonna win stupid prizes. Sorry to burst your bubble, but the jig is up. Star Wars isn't some niche exclusive tree club where you hang up a no girls allowed sign and dictate the terms of the discourse. It never was, and that is not changing anytime soon. Star Wars was never a no girls club, but they probably should have hung up a sign saying no idiots allowed in the club. Look at what Star Wars has become. It is a joke, and it is thanks to people like Anita. Now, I don't know if Anita had direct involvement with Star Wars, but her ideas definitely did. I was never the biggest Star Wars fan, but I did like it. I enjoyed it in doses. I thought it was cool. Now Now you would not catch me dead watching Star Wars under any circumstances unless it was one of the classic films. Sometimes gatekeeping against certain people is okay. Not groups of people before anyone starts going, see, he's a misogynist, he doesn't want women in there. That's not what I'm saying. I said certain people. Anita Sarkeesian is that person. If she had a Jimmy Wang Yang swinging between her legs, my sentiment would be the exact same. It doesn't matter if she's female, it doesn't matter if she's male. The ideas are destructive. Am I extremely tired, or is there not a single female speaking character in the first episode of Mandalorian? I've got to have missed something, right? You can see it, right? She's looking for a verbal fight on Twitter. She must have known writing something that stupid was going to make people raise their eyebrows immediately, but she's not a complete dumbass. She knows how to make these companies listen, and that's why she was so influential in the complete rotting of our games. Now, around this time, there was a lot of discussion surrounding mental health, men's mental health, and the spaces that we create for ourselves. And Anita Sarkeesian was a part of this conversation, and a lot of our spaces were criticized. And a woman tweeted out saying, if men's mental health mattered to men, they'd be creating safe spaces for themselves and each other, pursuing therapy and creating community. Instead, they perpetuate the very behaviors, systems that have handicapped them in the first place, refuse to support or create community amongst each other, severely damage the women in their lives who try to care for them, and attack women online for not doing the work for them in replies to tweets like the one below. Now, this one made me laugh because I had an argument with a woman about this very thing. The way men deal with their mental health and the way women do it are totally different. The things that the boys do to cope with hard times or difficult situations will not resonate with women. It just won't. There's almost no point in me even trying to explain it. I've done it 100 times and people don't seem to get it. Now, if you're a woman watching this going, I get it, that's good for you. I'm talking generally. It does go over people's head, but the boys get it. I know they do. I know guys watching this, I haven't even begun to explain it, and they already know what I'm talking about. We will engage in a little bit of banter, maybe banter that's not suitable for YouTube. We'll do it in private amongst people that we know care about us and have our best interests at heart. We'll go to the gym, we'll make light of the situation, we'll engage in vicious back and forths about our deepest insecurities, and then we'll go to the bar and we'll have a beer together. Every single time something happens, they give them the female response. And I'm not saying that what females do to cope with their mental health is always wrong. I'm saying it's different to what guys do. And when you are someone like Anita Sarkeesian that is constantly putting out these tweets, making out like men don't know how to deal with their mental health, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like there is not a mental health issue with men. Of course there is. But some of the advice we get from people that are not in our spaces is actually ridiculous. When I'm having a hard time, when I'm feeling down, when times are tough, I don't need to go to therapy. I don't need to go to sit and talk to some person that's just going to fleece me for my money so I come back next week for another hour. We'll sit there with my boys. We're going to rip each other a little bit. We're going to reminisce. We're going to play some Dragon Ball. We're going to hit the gym. We're going to talk shit. We might even put on the punching gloves. We deal with things very differently. And to be honest with you, there are a lot of lonely men out there. There are lots of lonely men out there. And that's something that people like Anita Sarkeesian don't understand. There's a lot of lonely guys that don't have the privilege of having a band of brothers around them. I'm very lucky that when I'm feeling down, I've got so many good male figures around me that I can go and chat to. But there's a lot of guys out there that are not lucky. And I honestly think that's very important for men to have a circle of guys that they can rely on. You don't have to have a big one, but you just need to have a circle of guys that you can rely on. That's what you need to be doing. If you're feeling down, you need to make sure you got a brotherhood, because there is strength in numbers. Now, that's just on a side note, because when this whole Anita Sarkeesian thing was going on, they were really demonizing men and all of the things that we do, and everything we did was toxic. And I was reading into it and I was like, what a load of fucking bullshit. The current topic of women destroying everything started all because a woman wanted to promote help for men's mental health, but everyone was more interested in focusing on one lady bullying her. It is not that we don't want a woman to lean on when times are hard either. That's something that Anita doesn't seem to understand. Having an understanding girlfriend or a wife when you're feeling down is great. Every man would want that, but there are certain things that I'm going to go to my boys for. Now, before any idiot sits in the comment section going, oh, that's gay, blah, blah, blah. You don't get it. You won't understand. The guys will understand. And you should want to do things that help us and allow us to have that space. Don't come into the space and be like, this is how you're going to do it because your way is wrong. Now, if people were bullying Anita, it's because she brought it on herself. I'm not going to go out of my way to message this woman on anything, but I will say on this video that we do not want her in our space and we should be actively trying to get her out of it. That doesn't mean that you have to hurl harassment at her in her DMs or anything like that, but it's making video game developers aware. She does not understand our spaces and we do not welcome her here. Just look at this tweet. Look at this. As if people need her help. It's not that, Anita. You need them. You need them to pay you. Nobody needs your consultancy. You have nothing of worth to say. She really does come across like a bad spirit that lures its victims in only to take over the body and then destroy it from the inside. Everything is sexist, Anita Sarkeesian. Anita runs an organization and employs 0 men. Isn't that funny? The irony, equality, fairness, for all that, but also, fuck guys, they're all bad, right? Not a single man in your organization, all you want to talk about is equality. Isn't that hilarious? Oh, well, isn't that charming? Well, guys, if you weren't aware of who Anita Sarkeesian is, now you are. If you've ever heard the term culture vulture, it was probably created specifically for this woman. She gave birth to some of the worst slop we have ever seen in the industry, and the effects of her poisonous rhetoric are still being felt today and will likely be felt well into the future. It really is up to the paying customer, me, you, people you know. If you are aware that this woman or women like her or guys like her or anyone like her is working on a game and you don't want to see another catastrophe with our video games, don't buy them. The developers will be forced to respond by telling her to go away and anyone else like her, because they want our money. I ain't gonna hold you if you buy a game she worked on and you didn't know. Sometimes these things happen, but if you know, then as a gamer, personally, somebody that's passionate about this industry and the things that we purchase from it, I think you should stick it to them until they learn their lesson. That is my personal take on it. And you know what, all things considered, I didn't end up going as hard on this woman as I thought I was going to. But you guys let me know what you think about all of this. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your feelings on this. I know some of you were there when Anita Sarkeesian originally came in and started to destroy everything and put people down. Well, now she has returned, and we are currently in the time of narrative consultancy agencies. So her coming in at this time is very, very convenient. Now, we spoke about some developers before. We spoke about Ubisoft. If these guys want to drive their businesses into the ground, by all means, employ these people. It's not like there aren't plenty of great games out there that we can just focus on. And anybody that wants to waste their money can go and buy the crap that they're bringing out. Let me know what you think, guys. Take care of yourselves. Have a good day and peace.